Welcome back to your soon-to-be favorite podcast. I'm Angelica.
And I'm Kelsey.
And this is
Here We Grow.
The warehouse that got obliterated damn near.
Which one?
Sur la table.
Oh, yeah.
That's down the street from me.
There's one in Carmel down the street from me, too. Literally, I can see it out the window at work. The front of it got torn off just like yours. Except the building was smaller, so the building in Carmel was smaller.
Wow. That's scary as hell.
Hope y'all were safe during tornado. We're back. Hello.
Hello.
Where were you during the tornado of 2025?
I kept telling Mario, I'm like, we need to go to the bathroom. And
You
he's
weren't
like,
replying in the group chat either.
I know. Yours was going off. Like the girls was going off. My coworkers are all going off.
Yeah,
And
my coworkers were messaging each other.
I just
too.
wanted to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And all these sirens are going off. I'm like, oh my God, I just want to go to bed. And I kept telling Mario, I was like, we need to go to the bathroom like right now. He's like, no, we'll be fine. It's fine. It's fine. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. We didn't go to the bathroom even though we had sirens 3 times. Also, we are on the Marion County, Hendricks County line, so we can hear Hendricks County sirens and Marion County sirens. But Cash was a little freaked out by the sirens. We were just trying to keep everything kind of like neutral tone, like, oh, yep, those are the sirens because of the rain. And then I'd say something like, oh, tornado watch or tornado warning.
Does he know what a tornado is?
I think so, yes. I don't know if he fully understood when we were first talking about it that night when the sirens were going off, but he would very like matter of fact go, no NATO. Like there's not going to be a tornado.
No.
Like as if he knows.
It's not going to hit here.
Nope,
So.
no NATO. And then he was a little bit scared about the thunder. That was the thing that scared him the most. But he was like kind of curious about the sirens. And then I put him to bed and then one more siren happened like late. I don't know if you remember, like 10:45, 11 o'clock. Another siren went off. I'm like, oh my God, that better not wake him up. And then the next morning, it was actually really cute. I went to go wake him up. The first thing he said to me was, he said, rain siren off? And I was like, yeah, the rain siren's all done. You know, no more rain because it was sunny outside. And he was like, yeah, all done.
Uh-huh.
And then the night before when I was putting him to bed, he was doing this. You won't be able to see if you're not watching a video, but he was doing this like motion like wind.
So he was
trying to tell me something. It was funny because he was trying to tell me something about outside and he was doing that. And I go, tornado? And he goes, no, wind. And then he keeps going. I think he did mean tornado.
Close,
though. Yeah.
but no, wind.
So close, Mom, but no, wind.
No.
And didn't say anything else about the wind, but it was just so cute. And then he was asking to see pictures of the tornadoes and stuff. So I did. I showed him pictures of the tornadoes. I showed him videos of tornadoes because I felt like if I did in a safe, like neutral way that it wouldn't scare him so much. So we did, and he was fine. Yeah. That was the tornado season of 2025. I have never been 2025. I have never been so terrified of the weather in my life. And like I've heard tornado sirens before, and they freak you out a little bit because they're scary, like in scary movies, you know.
But it's never touched down near us.
Yes, and we've always been told like tornado's not going to happen in the middle of the city, like, and it never has. It's never happened in the middle of the city where I'm living, like in the part of the city where I'm living. But now I live on the county line, which means I'm not in the middle of the city anymore. And very often there are tornado touchdowns in Hendricks County, like in Danville, this time in Brownsburg. So like they can get pretty close. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, I'm a parent now, so that's hard being a parent with tornadoes.
I feel for you parents out there.
Yeah. So.
No, we were actually eating outside on the back porch up until it started raining.
I saw that. I saw your story that you guys were eating outside. I'm like,
I was like, it's such a nice day. Like,
it was nice right up until.
Yeah. And then it started raining. We're like,
it was nice because it was like hot but windy.
Yes.
So it was like that cool summer breeze that you don't normally get to enjoy very much, you know?
Before all the bugs come out.
Yeah. Yes, before all the bugs. Ugh. Before it's like so hot that you're sweating your ass off.
Mosquitoes are biting you left and right and center. Yeah.
Yep.
So we enjoyed it a little bit before we.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And like Bolin, I mean, I know other dogs, like they are like shaking, they're barking, they're so terrified. Bowen thankfully was fine. I mean,
That's good.
he was like, every time
On
the
alert.
thunder went off, he would like look at us, and then we'd be like, it's okay. And be like, okay. All right.
If you say so.
I trust you.
As long as there's no cars crashing in here, I'm good.
Yeah. You're a good boy.
That's very lucky
good
because you're right. A lot of
boy.
other dogs are very anxious. They have to be like drugged during thunderstorms.
Yeah. And you know what? I would tell everybody my boy's a good, well-behaved dog.
He's not.
But lately, I don't know what the hell's got into this boy.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that dude. He's crazy.
I won't go into it. Just know that he fucked up my couch, and I'm a little upset. Because I had $5 in my bank account when I bought that couch.
Are you messing the couch up?
You got something to say? What? What? Tell it to our listeners. Play with your mama, not me. What? You wanna go outside?
Oh, yeah, he's pointing out.
All right, I'm going. He can wake up Mario.
All right, do we want to do quote of the week first, or do you want to tell us about fertilized eggs?
Guys, okay, look, I just be sitting there, and these thoughts,
I be having these thoughts.
and these thoughts just be coming to me, and I don't even remember how it came to be. I must have been eating eggs or something, and I thought to myself, like, how does an egg become a baby chick?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I know this isn't right, but as a kid, I thought that, we were killing baby eggs essentially. Like I thought that was a process to turn them into human food. You know what I mean? Like it was gonna be a baby chick, but then we did something to then be able to eat it.
Ooh,
right?
Sure, that's getting real close to
or like we ate it right before it turned into a baby chick.
Uh-huh.
As I grew older, I knew that wasn't the case, but I still didn't understand the process. So if you guys don't know either, I'm about to tell you.
Yep.
Okay. So this is from the chickenchick.com. It's facts and myths about fertile eggs. All right. So here we go. Unfertilized eggs. A hen must mate with a rooster in order for her egg to contain both the male and female genetic material necessary to create an embryo inside the egg. An unfertilized egg contains only the hen's genetic material, which means a chick can never hatch from that egg. Okay, that makes sense.
Like farms that are only producing eggs to be eaten, they would never have a rooster near their hens.
Exactly. Precisely. Exactly. Which that never even crossed my mind until actually just now.
Yeah. Actually, just right now.
The hen's genetic material, termed the blastodisc, can be identified on an egg yolk as a light colored dot with irregular borders. Every egg contains blastodisc. A blastodisc. Okay. Fertilized eggs. I don't know what I'm talking about this on here, but I thought it was fascinating. When an egg is fertilized by a rooster, the blastodisc becomes known as a blastoderm, which is the first stage of embryonic development. The blastoderm is identified by its bullseye appearance, having regular concentric circles. The blastoderm will remain in a state of suspended animation, so to speak, forever, unless warmed at particular temperatures for several hours.
Okay.
When a fertile egg is incubated under precise, steady temperatures and humidity levels for 21 days, the blastoderm may develop into a chick. May. Heavy on the may.
Heavy on the may. All the things got to go right.
All the things. Okay. An incubated fertilized egg. A fertilized egg must be kept at a temperature of at least 85 degrees Fahrenheit for several hours in order for the blastoderm to begin developing into an embryo, right? We just said that. An unincubated fertilized egg, that is an egg that is never incubated, will never contain an embryo, and will never look like anything other than common breakfast food. So
we can even eat fertilized eggs.
Yes, you can eat fertilized eggs.
Do you like your eggs What? How does it go?
Huh?
How do you like your eggs? Something or fertilized?
Ew,
You
what?
never heard that?
No. So myths.
Drop it in the comments below.
Myth. A fertilized egg has a baby chick in it. This is what I thought.
Yeah.
Freshly laid eggs can never contain a chick. Only fertilized eggs that have been incubated under proper conditions can become an embryo and develop into a chick. To see exactly how... Oh, there's pictures. Fertilized eggs are more nutritious than unfertilized eggs. Myth.
Oh. I was thinking to myself, I had already went down a rabbit hole. I'm like, why don't they sell them and market them as fertilized eggs if they're more nutritious? That's a great marketing scheme.
In fact, there is no scientific evidence that fertilized eggs are nutritionally superior to unfertilized ones. Fertilized eggs have remnants of the male sperm and a small layer of cells that could form in the embryo. The proportion of these to the total egg is so small that it is impossible to detect chemical differences from fertile and infertile eggs. Myth: fertilized eggs taste different than infertile eggs. There is absolutely no flavor difference between fertilized and unfertilized eggs.
Interesting.
Here's another myth. A blood spot inside the egg means the egg is fertilized. I also thought that. Fact: a blood spot inside an egg can occur at various points in a hen's reproductive system as a result of a blood vessel rupturing. It can be a result of genetic predisposition, a vitamin A deficiency, or a random event.
Hold your microphone up a little more.
Myth: candling an egg will reveal whether the egg is fertilized or not. Candling is the term used for shining a light through the eggshell to see what's inside. I also thought that as a child.
That you could see if it was a chick inside?
Yeah.
So, I only knew about the word candling because I was just telling you I saw a video of snakes being born from their eggs, like from laying to full incubation to hatching, and actually all the way to their first shed, which was very fascinating and not gross like you would think it would be.
Cute.
But yeah, they do candling. So they actually remove the mother from the eggs and then they incubate the eggs themselves. And before they start incubation, they candle the eggs where they shine a flashlight really close. And you're supposed to see like veins, like, okay, they all look good. And if they don't have veins, that's not a good egg and they throw it away. Because if it's a bad egg, then it won't make a baby snake. And if it's not going to make a baby snake, if it's a dud egg, it will mold during the incubation process, which could make the other eggs bad. And then the other thing, like after a little while of incubation, they'll candle the eggs again. And you're supposed to see some like dark red on one side of the egg or the other. And the dark side's supposed to be up at the top. And if it's at the bottom, they have to pull the egg out and flip it. Because the eggs are like stuck together. I know, this is so fascinating.
See, but that's with intervention. You know what I mean? Like what happens out in the wild?
They lose a lot of baby snakes, I guess. Yeah. This guy was like breeding ball pythons, which is like the most popular pet snake.
Wow. Would you ever have a pet snake?
We did. Kendra had one.
What?
Yeah. You don't remember that? Kendra had a ball python.
I don't remember it, but
I
that
never
totally
held him.
makes sense.
I never held him, and they had to feed him mice. It was,
alive?
It was gross, yeah.
Oh,
live mice. Yeah, they had to go to the pet store and buy live mice.
No.
They only had to feed him like once a week or something like that, or once every other week.
Wait, when was this?
In high school.
In high school?
Mm-hmm.
Your parents?
Yep. My dad was all over it. Yeah.
How big was it?
Maybe a foot.
Okay, that's not very big.
Ball pythons are pretty small. They're very friendly too. They're like friendly to people because they're usually bred the way I was just telling you, and they're handled by humans really early, and so they're friendly to people. If they bite, it doesn't like. If they bite you, which is not common for ball pythons, but if they bite you, they're so small that it's not like life threatening.
What happened to it?
I don't remember. Do you want to call Kendra and ask her?
Sure. She's
Probably
not
asleep.
busy.
She's probably asleep.
Girl, I think you said bald.
Ball.
Oh, look at this great big one. A Volta ball python. Ooh. Snakes are so cute, but like,
Yeah.
little beady eyes.
Yes, just got home, she said. All right, fix your buzzing. Like hold yeah, there you go. Just hold it.
Hello.
Hi, you're on the podcast with Kelsey and Angelica.
Yay.
We were just talking about your pet snake when we were in high school.
Uh-huh.
What was his name?
Zeke.
I
do kind of
that.
remember.
And what happened to him?
After you moved back in with Sam,
Mm-hmm.
he snapped at me when I went to go feed him because he had got the scent of Sam being in the house.
Mm.
And I ended up selling him, like him in the cage, to another breeder.
Oh.
He bit you?
No, he just snapped at her.
Oh.
He didn't bite me. He almost did.
Did that scare you? That freak you out?
Yeah. It did.
Yeah.
I was a kid back then, too, so I was like, oh, yeah, I don't want to get bit by
And he had never, like, snapped at you before, right? Because he was very friendly before.
Yeah, no, he was friendly because he was a baby, too. So.
Just because you got a whiff of Sam?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you figure that out?
I think so, too. Because, so, like, when you feed a snake, you have to take it out of its enclosure into a different bin because if you go reach for them in their enclosure where they eat, they're going to be mean.
Oh.
And so it was just that time of the week when I went to go feed him and switch him over, and it was after Kelsey had moved back in.
So it was all my fault.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I was just, the reason we were on the subject is because I watched a video the other night of a breeder doing like a full, like from the time the eggs were laid to the time they hatched and then to their first shed. And they were beautiful ball pythons. Like they all had different designs and different shades. And you would think that the birth of snakes from eggs would be a really gross process, but it was actually like probably the least gross process of all like birthing processes that there are.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's just like another, like, you have to wait and put them in like incubators and stuff like that. It's really just the waiting process that gets everybody, but it's really not that bad, to be honest.
Yeah, Angelica was asking me what happened to the snake. She was like, wait, you got a snake? And I'm like, yeah, in high school we don't remember. And, because you said, would you ever get a snake? I'm like, we had one when I was in high school. I said, I never held it, but we had one.
Yeah, he was just a baby. He never grew.
He was like a foot.
Enough to like I couldn't like hold. He was still like palm size.
Yeah, he was like a foot long probably, right?
I'll say a foot to 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All right, well, that's all we needed was to interview you about your pet snake from childhood.
Okay.
All right, talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Glad we called her. She's normally asleep if she's at home, but they probably went out for dinner or something.
Wow, pet snake. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wanted a bearded dragon for a while there.
Not anymore?
Nope.
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 Fuck no. Bolin would fuck him up.
Oh my God. You know, I think I'm the first one to admit I'm ignorant about a lot of things. And like, to me, ignorance is not like a bad thing. I just don't know what I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, so reptiles.
Okay.
They're all going to be eggs, right? Do all reptiles lay eggs?
Let's ask Gemini, shall we?
Like, what?
More importantly,
Because mammals don't.
are all reptiles born from eggs?
That statement is incorrect.
Okay, you don't have to answer me out loud. Rude. It caught you saying mammals. Hold on. Are all reptiles born from eggs?
No, not all reptiles are born from eggs. While many reptiles are oviparous, egg-laying, some species are viviparous, meaning they give birth to live young. Here's a breakdown. Oviparous. This is the most common...
Okay. So no.
So no.
Some of them give birth to live animals and some of them lay eggs.
Like who?
Like who?
Who gives birth to live animals?
Which reptiles are viviparous? It did not catch that word. Viviparous. Lizards.
Lizards.
Certain snake species.
Whoa.
Anacondas.
Oh, God.
Skink? I don't know what a skink is.
Skink.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of weird animals, and then we're going to get on the topic, I promise.
Platypuses?
This is a skink. Is it blue?
Is that a snake with arms and legs?
Yeah, basically.
Let me see. It's
a
cute.
really long tail.
Oh.
It just kind of looks like a lizard.
Yeah, no.
Okay, do you know what a quokka is?
Quokka?
Uh-huh.
No, tell me.
Okay. So
Okay.
So I saw this meme that made me figure out what quokkas are. If you don't know what a quokka is, look it up. Quokka. Basically, it's a marsupial, so in the kangaroo family. And they're really cute, and they're known because they smile. And they're really friendly to people.
Wait, isn't that a close... What's...
There's thinking of koala?
No, there's
Okay.
another one that looks like that. What are those called again?
They're really popular because they smile. And they're very friendly. And the reason I saw this, or that I came across this, was there was a meme that somebody posted of a sign at a restaurant. And
I was like, don't feed them no matter how much they smile at you or something.
it said, don't let the quokka in no matter what he says, or something like that. And then it was like the next photo was a picture of a quokka at a restaurant smiling, holding a menu.
Aww.
Like an actual quokka. Like,
where? Australia, you said?
Yeah, they're in Australia.
Dude, Australia, your guys' animals. What?
Yeah, wild. Some of them terrifying, some of them adorable.
Hell no, could never catch me there.
Anyway, all right, let's move on, shall we? Quokka, snakes, eggs. All right, quote of the week. How long is it taking us to get to quote of the week? 22 minutes. One doesn't have to operate with great malice to do great harm. The absence of empathy and understanding are sufficient. Charles M. Blow. Whoever that is. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the science behind brainwashing, which you guys voted for. And then next week we will be doing Hailey Bieber and Selena Gomez, and probably some Justin Bieber stuff too, because more things have come to light that are like, what?
Guys, it's
wild.
It sounds so silly to talk about them, but there's a lot here. There's a lot there to unpack.
Yeah. Let's not get into it right now. Okay, the reason why I wanted to do the history behind brainwashing is because, I've always been fascinated by cults, for instance, where the leaders are able to brainwash their followers very easily. One might say that the current president of the United States is brainwashing his followers very easily.
Propaganda.
I've also it has also come up in other things.
You know, when you mess up your words, you make fun of yourself. But when I mess up my words, you make fun of me.
I'm the make funner of the group. In relationships, you can be brainwashed in a relationship. In any relationship, not just romantic relationships. Your parents can brainwash you. And then more recently, when we did the Ruby Frankie case, that whole situation, the brainwashing. And I'm like, what's the science behind this? Like, I was talking to my coworker, Michelle. She actually has a psychology degree. And so we talk about like psychology stuff a lot whenever we're like interested in certain things. And I was telling her this. I'm like, what's the science behind brainwashing? I'm like, what's the clinical term if your therapist wanted to diagnose you as brainwashed? There's nothing. It's brainwashed. And you would think that there would be a more clinical term for it because the word brainwash is such a hot like word, like a, what do they call it? Buzzword. It really only took me a second. So basically, since the Ruby Frankie case, I'm like, I really want to do an episode on the science behind brainwashing. Like, what is it that makes people totally desert their own beliefs and adopt the beliefs of someone else? So let's get into it.
Well, before you get into that, my own personal thoughts too is because I think things sometimes are just the perfect storm for that to happen.
Yeah. We're going to talk about like what type of people are easily brainwashed, and I'm sure that will come up.
Well, not only the type of people, but again, phases in their lives.
The environment they're in.
Yeah, because you
the
could
people
be
who are in their lives.
Right. You could be a super successful person, good morals, good values, and then I don't know, you lose your job, you lose a loved one. You know what I mean? You suffer financially. Something happens or multiple things happen to you and you're at your very lowest.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I just believe a perfect storm.
Absolutely. Okay, let's start with what is brainwashing. It's often described as a process of systematic and coercive persuasion aimed at changing someone's beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. Emphasize the controversial nature of the term, and the lack of universally accepted scientific definition. That's another thing that really...
Repeat that again.
The lack of universally accepted scientific definition.
Whoa.
So that's another thing that really fascinates me, and that's probably why there's not a clinical term for it, because it is not clinically...
It's not so black and white.
Yeah, it's not so black and white. It's very much like to anyone's...
Circumstantial.
Yes, it's objective almost. And like all of us can say, oh, she's brainwashed. But like, do you truly mean that? Do you truly mean their beliefs have changed against their better judgment or against their previous judgment? Okay.
I don't use that term a lot.
Me either. I don't use it as a buzzword either.
No,
but
I don't
people
use it
do.
as a buzzword.
People do.
Huh.
So also called mind control, often used interchangeably, but sometimes implies more sophisticated techniques. Thought reform, a term popularized in the context of Chinese political indoctrination. Coercive persuasion. So this is the only thing that came up a lot in like therapy speak was coercive persuasion, a more academic term focusing on the manipulative aspects of influence. Cult indoctrination, techniques used by cults to recruit and maintain members. We'll get into that. Propaganda, as you said before, mass communication aimed at influencing attitudes. Influence and persuasion, distinguish brainwashing from everyday persuasion tactics. Highlight the key differences. This is like telling me what to do. Coercion, isolation, manipulation, and the intent to fundamentally alter identity. The contested science behind brainwashing. The lack of definitive scientific proof. Kendra just told me a joke. I don't want to read it right now. It's crucial to acknowledge that there's no single universal accepted scientific theory or body of research that that definitively proves brainwashing as a distinct scientifically measurable phenomenon. Much of the research is controversial and ethically questionable.
Oh yeah, because how would you do the research on it?
Yeah, it's not black and white. Like you said, it's not this or that, yes or no. But I think there should be more research on it because it is...
Well, hold on.
Taking the nation by storm.
So we have data from history, but research would mean actively brainwashing someone in a controlled environment.
That's
and
true.
that's why it's controversial.
Yeah, that's true.
You're fucking with people's lives.
Yeah, and their brain chemistry.
Yeah, and their brain chemistry.
I wonder if you could brainwash a mouse.
I was thinking about that. That's unethical too.
Well,
Kelsey.
they do plenty of scientific research on mice.
Yeah.
Psychological scientific research on mice.
But hang on. Wait. You're changing someone's values. What values do mice have?
True, but like there's ways of measuring it in the same way that they do other psychological tests on mice.
Well, that's probably like negative reinforcements.
Right. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh.
Yeah. Psychological principles at play. While a singular brainwashing science might not exist, the techniques often associated with leverage well-established psychological principles. Social isolation, depriving individuals of their usual social support networks, makes them more susceptible to influence.
Hang What percentage are you on?
Oh, 71. 71. Yeah. It's fast, wasn't it?
Dang. I'm on 7.
Let's quadruple that. Sleep deprivation impairs cognitive function and increases suggestibility. Repetitive messaging, constant exposure to specific ideas can lead to internalization. Kind of like echo chamber.
What'd you say?
What?
I'm the friend you don't want in your girl's ear because I'll be the one telling her she deserves better than you.
Yep. Fuck you.
Call back.
Call back. Regarding echo chamber episode. Repetitive messaging, constant exposure to specific ideas can lead to internalization. Again, another echo chamber situation. Emotional manipulation, exploiting fear, guilt, or love to control behavior. Cognitive dissonance, creating internal conflict and offering the new belief system as resolution. Suggestibility and hypnosis. While controversial in this context, some techniques might exploit suggestibility. True. Group dynamics and peer pressure. The power of conformity and the desire to belong. That one right there is a big one. Love bombing. Overwhelming individuals with affection and attention in the initial stages. Fear and intimidation, creating a sense of threat or danger to enforce compliance. Historical context and case studies. Examine historical... let's talk about brainwashing in history. Korean War POWs, the brainwashing of American prisoners by Chinese captors. Cults like Jamestown and the Manson family, how cult leaders exert control over their followers. Political re-education, historical examples of governments attempting to change citizens' beliefs. The role of stress and trauma, situations involving high stress, trauma, and captivity can make individuals more vulnerable to influence. Let's see. Let me skip down a little bit. The debate over brainwashing. Acknowledge the ongoing debate about whether brainwashing is a real phenomenon or simply a label applied to various forms of intense social influence. But to me, intense social influence is brainwashing. Like it qualifies.
But it's not just influence. It's way more than that. I can be influenced to like a certain brand, but I'm not going to be like ride or die for that brand necessarily.
Right. If they do something wrong, I'll still...
Yeah, like I'm still going to stick back to my values.
Right. I think that's probably the core of it, is whether or not you can revert back to your values. Or if whatever this person, entity, whatever says or does is the end all be all.
Yeah. Have you that guy that goes and like interviews like Cheeto rally supporters, and he'll be like, Biden said blah blah blah, and they're like, oh my god, well yeah, he's just a terrible person, and then everyone's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I read that wrong, Trump actually said that. Oh well, I'm sure he had his reasons.
Oh my god, of course,
bruh. Brainwashing. Exactly. If you can revert, if you can apply your principles evenly and equally.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. If you can still, apply your principles to everything in your life without changing them to what that entity believes.
Yeah. It's way more than intense influencing, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And because I think this isn't someone that every person has experienced, so sometimes it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people tend to think that they would do something differently.
Yeah, I think...
Like, oh, I would never do that.
Also, I think everyone is susceptible to brainwashing. Some more than others, and we'll get to that in a little bit when we talk about, like, what type of person is most susceptible. But I think people think that when you're brainwashed, it's like, oh, you know what? You should think this now. And then that, it's gradual, just like abuse. It's gradual. You know what's another brainwashed ideology? Is victim blaming. Well, why this? Or why didn't you do this? Or why would you do that? And a lot of people go to that first versus just, believing what the victim is saying. Right. Yeah.
Like, why is that your first instinct to be like, it's like you want to problem solve. Like, well, why didn't you do this? Or
Right.
why
To
you
try
could
to
have done
understand.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just don't think that they would act differently in certain situations. And you just really never know until you're in the perfect storm.
Absolutely. While the concept of brainwashing as a precise scientific phenomenon is debated, the conditions and situations where individuals are most susceptible to intense influence and manipulation often share common characteristics. These settings and situations typically involve 1. Isolation and control of information. Cults and totalitarian, I can never say that word, groups. These groups often isolate members from their previous social networks, family, and external sources of information, an echo chamber. This creates an environment where
Cult.
the group's ideology and leaders' pronouncements become the sole reality. So, of course, you're going to be washed eventually. I mean, you might still hold on to your values at first, but over time, if you're isolated, if you have nobody else to talk to, if you have no view of the outside world and how the outside world is, that is your ideology.
Yeah. And also, like, have you ever done, like, you've been in a situation and you acted a certain way, but then maybe after talking it over with someone else, they present like a different angle of it, and you're like, oh shit, like I never thought about it that way. And if you're constantly being influenced by that person, that slowly starts to change the way you view things, the way you act, the way you...
And then you might even start like thinking like them as well. Like with the way that they just manipulated you by twisting the story, then you twist the story for yourself in your own head. You do the mental gymnastics yourself because they've trained you to.
Yep.
Okay, the next one is prisoner of war camps. Captivity can lead to isolation, dependence on captors, and the deliberate feeding of propaganda while withholding accurate information. The next one is hostage situations. Similar to POW camps, hostages are isolated under duress and their information flow is controlled by their captors. Similar. Stress. So number 2, stress, fatigue, and emotional vulnerability. High stress environments, constant stress, lack of sleep, uncertainty can impair judgment and increase suggestibility. This can be exploited in cult recruitment or coercive interrogation. I would even venture to say that this would be very helpful to an abusive partner. Keeping you in constant stress, constant lack of sleep, constant uncertainty of your relationship. That is a breeding ground for brainwashing. Traumatic experiences. Individuals who have experienced trauma may be more vulnerable to seeking solace and answers in groups that offer seemingly simple solutions or strong leadership. So this part is what most people think of when they think of someone who is easily brainwashed or someone who would join a cult, someone who has been through a lot of trauma, someone who just was through a big trauma situation. Of course, if you watch the documentaries about Scientology, this is their main marketing scheme. And what they do is
you want to turn your life around. You want to get better. You want to achieve this.
Yep. And they have celebrities on their side. Why wouldn't you want to be like them?
Successful.
They must be legit. And what they do is they sit on the street, on the sidewalk, outside their church, outside their, because it's more than just a church. The thing is huge. It's a multi-million-dollar church altogether, but organization. They sit outside on the sidewalk, and with people walking by, they sell them this idea that they can become the best version of themselves if they just go through these courses. And then you find out these courses cost thousands of dollars. And then they're like, oh, we can get you approved for this. You just fill out this application, and then they've got you for all your money, and it's insane. But they specifically target people who are looking for an answer. And if you've ever been through something traumatic, when you're at your lowest, you are looking for an answer. You're looking for someone to help you, someone to save you, someone to give you the answer on how you can be happy again, how you can be your best self again. And that's what these people offer. That's what they sell. That's what manipulators sell. Times of personal crisis. During periods of grief, loss, or major transitions, people may be more open to new belief systems and influences. Intense indoctrination and repetition. Constant exposure to ideology, repetitive messaging, slogans, and doctrines can gradually erode existing beliefs and implant new ones. This is common in cults and propaganda campaigns. I would also venture to say that version is common in a lot of our societal norms. It's very gradual. It's over time from when we are children. Fat phobia, homophobia, any type of societal norm that we know now is not okay was just slowly like repetitive motions, messaging, and doctrines that were taught to us since we were children, even in school. Pressurized environments, group settings where dissent is discouraged or punished and conformity is highly rewarded, can create a powerful pressure to adopt the group's views. What?
I burped and it came out of my nose.
Oh.
It burned. Okay. I was trying not to burp on the podcast.
It made it worse.
Sorry.
Love bombing, like we talked about before. And love bombing is not just in relationships. Anybody can love bomb you. A coworker could love bomb you. A coworker could be like so nice to you and so like wanting to hang out with you, making you feel special, and maybe even bringing you in coffee the next day and like really love bombing you to make you conform to what they want you to conform to. Because if you think, oh my God, she is so nice. She's so nice to me. She wants to be my friend. It lets your guard down, which not saying you shouldn't have your guard down, but then over time she can start throwing in these little things, these little jabs or these little beliefs that slowly change your mind over time. Probably less common in a coworker, but it doesn't have to. My point is that it doesn't have to be a partner that's love bombing you. It could be anyone. It could be your own family members.
Buttering you up.
It could be a cult leader. It could be freaking Jody Hildebrandt.
Ew.
Exploitation of needs and desires, offering a sense of belonging and purpose. Groups that provide a strong sense of community, identity, and meaning can be particularly appealing to individuals feeling lost or disconnected.
Yep.
Promising idealistic goals. Cults or extremist groups often attract members by appealing to their desire for a better world, social justice, or spiritual enlightenment.
That would get me.
Now, in that sense, this is going to get some flack. I would venture to say that in that same way, heaven is sold as a way to make people conform in religion. Now, do I know if heaven exists? No. But I don't think it should be sold as this is why you should act this way. This is why you should come to church every Sunday. This is why you should praise God every Sunday. This is why you should blah, blah, blah. Heaven should not be a selling point. It should be a goal of some sort in your own personal life, but not like, you know how some people believe like, oh, I have to save my daughter and make sure she goes to heaven.
You know, now that you're saying this, for me, my childhood, it's been more about not getting sent to hell versus getting into heaven.
Avoiding hell.
Avoiding hell. That's the goal.
This is kind of not related, but have you ever heard the saying that sometimes atheists are better people than Christians because they're good people because they want to be good people, not because they're afraid of going to hell?
I know. See, that's the thing. Like, I've even been catching myself lately. Like, I'll do this with my sister, and I don't actually mean it. I'm just playing around. Like, I'll do something nice for her and she'll be like, thank you. And I'm like, you're welcome. I expect this in return. But like, I'm just kidding. Like, I think one day when I went to go take care of her kids and she was like, oh, thank you so much. I'm like, I expect this when I have kids. But I'm just kidding. Like, I don't mean it like, oh, I'm only doing this because you're going to do it back for me when I need it. When I cash in that IOU.
We do this because we're sisters. We do this for each other.
Yeah. But I've been joking about it. And lately I've sat down with it and thought, yeah, do I do things because I fear going to hell? Or am I being a good person because I am a good person? Am I a good person inherently? You know what I mean?
Inherently, yeah. Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I've been so like, you know, treat your neighbor as you,
treat your neighbor as you would.
Like, treat others as you would want to be treated. Love thy neighbor, whatever. That saying or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I thought to myself, yeah, like, no, but for real, like, am I doing this because I'm a good person, or am I doing this because I'm hoping that some higher being is watching me and tallying up all my good deeds and being like, yep, that's enough to get her into heaven?
I remember thinking that way when I was a kid, when I was very like believing, like pseudo believing kind of the things in Vacation Bible School and stuff. Like I remember thinking like, oh, somebody watched me do that good deed, or somebody's watching me do this bad deed, you know? And
but see, that's what integrity is doing the right thing even when no one's looking.
Right. And so
do
it's
I
a
lack
messed up
integrity?
way. It's a messed up way to raise children in fear of going to hell, because they're not actually learning how to be good people just to be good people. They're learning how to be good people to get something in return for their own selfish reasons.
Right. And you're always taught too, like, you know, oh, people want to come to God right when their life is going wrong and bad, and asking them, well, what am I supposed to, okay, then what, when I'm going through my lowest, what else am I supposed to do then? I don't understand. Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah. It's just, I could go on and on about how religion is such a form of control, but I literally will tell people, like, at work, somebody will say something like, oh, something about hell. And I'll be like, oh, you're so silly. Hell doesn't exist. And people look at me like I'm crazy.
Oh my God.
And I think they look at me like I'm crazy because it's shocking for somebody to say that to you. Oh my God. She about jumped out of her skin with that cold chill. Was Jesus touching you just now?
He's telling you hell is real.
Why didn't he touch me then?
Because you're not brainwashed.
Apparently.
I'm kidding. See, now I feel guilty. Oh, I have a story after
That's
yours.
scrupulosity, OCD. But
Go ahead.
we'll
Go ahead.
into that.
Oh yeah.
What was I saying?
When
I tell people that hell doesn't exist, I think one, it's very shocking for them to hear me say that. But I think in their head they really do think like, wait a minute, do I believe in hell? I think we're so indoctrinated to believe in hell from when we're little that we never think, oh, wait a minute, do I really believe in hell? Like, come on. Do I believe there might be a heaven? More than I believe there's a hell. Yes. More than I and I'm not a religious person. I do believe in a higher power. I'm not sure about heaven, but I'm definitely sure there's not a hell. Definitely sure.
I tend to do things just in case there is a hell. Like, I don't know. Obviously, no one knows. We talked about this. Yeah, but like, just in case.
Yeah. We talked about this in, I think it was a religious trauma episode, way back, 11 or something. But I said, I truly believe there's a lot of people who say they're religious, but they're only religious just in case. They can't say their true feelings like, oh, I really don't believe in God.
See,
or
but in the
I don't believe in this idea of God, because they're worried that if they say that and then they go to hell, then, oh shit, I should have just said that I believed in it.
But see, in the eyes of the church, even that is fake. Like, you're going to hell because you're not a true believer then.
Right. But then
just
it's like,
in case people
just don't be a true believer then.
I know it's
so messed up.
You know, two things. I told.
Uh-oh. She's having trouble saying it. It's something.
Someone once told me that it is my responsibility to make sure that my partner makes it into heaven.
I know who that person was.
When you marry someone, it is your responsibility to make sure they get into heaven.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, hear me when I say it is not your responsibility to make sure someone else reaches salvation, whatever that means.
Okay, and then my second story was that one day I was at my parents' house. I still lived there, and I was really, really frustrated. And like, I think like I tripped or something, and I'm like, I was already mad, and then I tripped, and I'm like, oh my God, anything else? And then I go by the door, and the door handle grabs my shirt, and I get yeeted back, and I'm like, ah, damn, I should just shut up now.
Yep.
Like, I literally looked up to the sky. I'm like, anything else?
Yeah.
And then boom.
Yep. Absolutely.
I told my mom about it, and she was like, never do that. Never test God. And I'm like, okay.
Now, just in case we have new listeners that haven't heard me talk about this before, I consider myself agnostic, which means I do believe in some higher power. I just don't believe that we're supposed to know who it is. I don't believe that we are supposed to worship them in the way that we currently do. I think it's supposed to be a personal relationship with the universe, with your God, with whoever. It's not supposed to be organized in the way that it is. And I do believe that there's some kind of salvation, but that we are, again, not supposed to know what it is. We are just supposed to be good people on the earth, the best the way that we can, accept that humans make mistakes and forgive people. And if we do the best that we can at that in our lifetime, we will reach salvation.
Yeah.
Period.
I think that's beautiful because you're doing it without the fear of something bad happening and without the promise of something good happening.
Exactly.
You know what
It's
I mean?
not for gain or for fear.
Yeah.
It is just to continue living the best way I can for the best people that I can. Period. That's it. Like it can be that simple. It doesn't have to be a named entity. It doesn't have to be a named religion, organization, church, pastor. It doesn't have to be all that. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Unless you had
And
something else.
all this was written by men, and I don't know how much I trust them.
Oh my gosh. I literally looked up the other day. I'm like, who wrote the Bible? And I mean, everybody's heard this. It was written by man. It was written by men who named the books of the Bible after themselves. And
Oh, I didn't know that part. I mean,
it was written by Paul, somebody else too. Never mind. I'm not going to read it right now, but it was also written in Latin and then translated a bunch of times. And there's the Old Testament and the New Testament. I mean, why do people, knowing this information, why would you follow it as if it is Bible?
Yeah, how can you be so sure when there's hundreds of different religions?
Hundreds of different religions.
How can you be so sure about
even
yours?
hundreds of different interpretations of the Holy Bible? But
how can you be so sure?
this is just education.
Okay. Anyways.
Yes, anyways. Okay, exploiting vulnerabilities. Manipulators often target individuals' insecurities, fears, or desires to gain control of them. Like hell, like we were just saying. If you fear hell, some people grow up with an innate fear of hell. And it's interesting. We're going to get back into this again. It's interesting because, and I mean, I used to fear hell too, but it's interesting that you can make people fear something that they're not going to get to until they're dead.
Oh, yeah.
You have your entire lifetime to live until you get to this point, and you're afraid of it as if it's around the corner, as if it's going to get you in your sleep.
You know what I hate too? It's like, you know, the notion of God gave you free will. He wants to see what you're going to do. And it's like, why would he do that then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what?
Well, it's the whole Adam and Eve thing. But then I saw a video yesterday of this woman reading the Bible. She was like,
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. God said, why did you eat the forbidden fruit? And Adam said, well, this woman
that you gave me.
She's the one that ate it.
She's like, you are gaslighting God.
God asked yo.
God asked you. Yeah. He blamed it on the woman.
Yeah. Him not trying to take accountability.
Yeah. Men haven't been taking accountability since the 6th day. Yeah. All right. Let's move on again.
Yo.
A yo.
Not me, not Hermione, a yo.
That's going to be so funny. Okay. Gradual and incremental influence. Foot in the door technique. Manipulators may start with small, seemingly innocuous requests or ideas and gradually escalate their demands and influence over time. This is the same as manipulators. This is the same as abusers. This is the same as abusive trauma bonds.
They want to push you to see how far they can take you.
Yep. And then if you push back, they'll back up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Or I was just joking. I was just kidding. I didn't actually mean that.
Yep. Cognitive dissonance reduction. Once individuals have made small commitments to a group or belief system, they may be more likely to rationalize and further embrace it to reduce internal conflict. So like what it's saying is like, if you are kind of in the middle about something controversial one way or the other, black or white, and they start getting you a little bit closer to black, well, you can accept this one thing about black, right? You can accept this one thing. Then you're like, okay, yeah, I can accept that one thing. But then you can't accept that one thing about the black side if you can't accept this thing about the white side. So you have to go all the way to remove the internal conflict, to remove the, well, you know, to just get all the way to the other side. Ugh, cognitive dissonance really sucks. The term brainwashing often carries a connotation of complete and irreversible mind control, which is generally considered rare and difficult to achieve. More commonly, the processes involved are better described as coercive persuasion, thought reform, or undue influence. Individual susceptibility to influence varies depending on their personality, background, and the specific circumstances. Perfect storm, like you said. It's important to recognize these settings and situations to understand how individuals can come under the sway of powerful ideologies or manipulative groups. Recognizing the tactics used can also help individuals protect themselves and others from undue influence. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people who end up brainwashed or like in cults and stuff, they've never even heard of like cult. They've never even heard of like how a cult would. Like for me, I've seen lots of documentaries about cults, right? So I would be more prepared than that of a person who's never seen a documentary about a cult to identify a cult before I am pulled into one.
Right.
Right? So educate yourself.
Yep. I was about to say that.
Educate yourself. Yep. Okay. So some other instances of brainwashing would be commercial and marketing settings like high pressure sales tactics, cult-like brand loyalty. I would say Target was getting up there a little bit, cult-like brand loyalty. But now they hurting. They real hurting.
They hurting.
Multi-level marketing schemes, so MLMs, they can really brainwash you. Religious and spiritual groups, obviously. Charismatic leaders with unquestioning followers. We know a few of those. Therapeutic and self-help settings. Okay, let's read about this. Unethical or extreme therapy. Therapists who exert excessive control over their patients' lives, promote dependence, or impose their own beliefs can engage in harmful manipulation. So a lot like Jodi Hildebrandt. There are a lot of one of the podcasts I listened to, she's an author, she's also a podcaster. She had an episode about life coaches and how there is a whole like pool of life coaches out there that like just prey on people and make them pay money for their life coach like courses, and they're not even actually qualified to be helping people with their lives.
Oh no. Kind of like connections.
Yep. Certain self-help gurus and programs, some programs that promise radical transformation through intense emotional experiences, isolation, and unwavering adherence to specific doctrines can exert undue influences. One instance of that is called Twin Flames. Have you ever heard of that? Look up Twin Flames. There's a documentary about it. No.
Oh, right now?
There's a documentary about it. I was just telling the listeners to look it up. Educational settings, obviously, peer pressure and academic settings, online communities and social media, echo chambers and filter bubbles, online cults and extremist groups, influence of online personalities, military and law enforcement training, breaking down and rebuilding identity. While necessary for creating cohesive and obedient units, intense military and law enforcement training often involves breaking down recruits' previous identities and instilling new values, beliefs, and behaviors through rigorous discipline and repetitive drills. So even in the military, brainwashing is actually used as a tactic to make better soldiers.
Yep. Break you down and build you back up.
Man.
How they want it.
All right, let's see. Some of this is repetitive. Okay, here's some common misconceptions. Myth. Brainwashing is a sudden, all-powerful mind control technique. Reality. True brainwashing, as depicted in fiction, instant, complete control, is not scientifically supported. Influence is usually a gradual process involving manipulation, persuasion, and coercive tactics over time. The term coercive persuasion is often considered a more accurate depiction. Myth. Only weak-minded or unintelligent people can be brainwashed. Anyone can be susceptible to intense influence under the right circumstances. Factors like stress, isolation, emotional vulnerability, and lack of information can affect individuals regardless of their intelligence or personal strength. Myth: brainwashing is always intentional and malicious. While many instances of coercive influence are deliberate, sometimes groups or individuals may unknowingly employ manipulative tactics as part of their belief system or social dynamics.
Whoa.
Interesting. I can't even think of a setting in which that would be. Okay.
Not malintention.
So, an example might be if you're in a manipulative relationship, say for a long time, say 10 years, and then you get out of this manipulative relationship, and the next relationship you're in, you have to kind of deprogram yourself from these ways that you had to survive. Then you may still have some manipulative tactics at hand to use to get your way when you need to, or when you feel you need to. I would say that might be one that is not intentional, even though it is kind of intentional, but it's not conscious. It's subconscious.
That's a trickier one.
That is tricky, yeah. Myth: brainwashed individuals are completely unaware of their condition. While their critical thinking may be impaired, individuals under intense influence may still have moments of doubt or internal conflict. However, the environment often discourages or punishes expressing these doubts. So your brain is just like triggered and trained to push down doubt because it means danger if you don't.
Yeah.
Myth: brainwashing is irreversible. Reality: while the effects of intense manipulation can be profound and long-lasting, individuals can often recover with time, distance from the influencing environment, and support from others. Deprogramming or therapy can help individuals regain their critical thinking skills and sense of self. Let me reiterate. Deprogramming or therapy can often help individuals regain their critical thinking skills. So what's the opposite of brainwashing? Critical thinking. So, in today's political climate, the opposite of brainwashing is critical thinking. Thinking critically about issues and about how other people's lives might be affected, or how the domino effect might affect other people. Just putting that out there. Interesting that critical thinking is the opposite of brainwashing. Myth: brainwashing relies on exotic or secret techniques like hypnosis or drugs. While these methods might be portrayed in fiction, the core techniques of coercive persuasion usually involve more common psychological tactics like isolation, repetition, emotional manipulation, blah, blah, blah. Myth: brainwashing is solely associated with cults and political regimes. Obviously, we just talked about that. Myth: if someone willingly participates, it's not brainwashing.
No. It can still be brainwashing.
As discussed previously, the dynamics of intense influence can be found in various settings, including relationships. Wait. Nope, I read the wrong one. Initial participation might be voluntary, but manipulative environments often create a situation where individuals feel increasingly trapped, dependent, and unable to leave or question the group's ideology freely. The willingness, quote, can be manufactured through manipulation. The willingness, the quote, willingness can be manufactured through manipulation. They can manufacture your willingness through manipulation. That's a very interesting sentence. Myth: brainwashed individuals are easily identifiable. Individuals under intense influence can often appear normal to outsiders, especially if the group emphasizes outward conformity. I have one more thing, and then we can go on to your thing. Okay, I asked AI what snaps people out of brainwashing.
Ooh.
Snapping someone out of intense influence, often referred to as brainwashing or coercive persuasion, is a complex and often gradual process. There's no single magic snap, but rather a combination of factors and interventions that can help individuals regain their critical thinking and autonomy. 1. Creating distance and separation, limiting contact and physical removal from the group or person. 2, providing a safe and supportive environment, non-judgmental support, building trust, emotional validation. If you are noticing, these are all things you should be doing with a person who's getting out of an abusive relationship. 3, re-exposure to diverse information and perspectives. Ooh, that's a big one. Gentle introduction of facts, exposure of different viewpoints. 4, encouraging critical thinking and self-reflection, asking open-ended questions, focusing on process, not just content, highlighting inconsistencies. 5, reconnecting with their former identity and relationships. That's a really good one. Reminiscing about the past, rebuilding old connections. 6, professional help and therapy. 7, time and patience. And that's it. I do have 2 quotes really quick, and then we can go on to yours. This is from George Orwell in the book 1984. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. And if all others accepted the lie which the party imposed, if all records told the same tale, then the lie passed into history and became truth. Next one says, narcissists and psychopaths try to make you feel the opposite of what you are. This is a form of brainwashing and conditioning to instill your false beliefs about yourself so you're easier to control. If you are brilliant, they will act condescendingly towards you and attempt to diminish your intelligence. If you are attractive, they will give you the silent treatment or devalue you to make you feel undesirable. If you are fit and active, they will try to instill in you the idea that you are unhealthy. If you are wildly successful, they will value your accomplishments even if they haven't achieved a tenth of what you have. If you are empathetic and overcome great adversity to achieve self-confidence, they claim you're arrogant. That is Shahida Arabi. That's all I got.
Whew. A lot of information there.
Yeah. Shout out to AI for that. Shout out to AI for writing this episode.
I don't have much. I just have 2 cases that I can kind of, by memory, talk about.
Ooh, that's my favorite kind.
So, have you heard about Tanya Catch?
No.
Catch or Cash? Probably Catch. She was held captive for 10 years.
Okay.
So, I just recently watched a dramatization of her case. So this may or may not be true, like to her case, to the general senses is what you're going to get at. But basically, again, the perfect storm. She was put into foster care. She was having problems with her foster family. Her mom hadn't talked to her in a long time. Her mom almost wanted nothing to do with her. She was 13 years old. She had started a new school. She didn't know anybody. And there's a security guard at her school who notices her, realizes she's alone. She doesn't know anybody else. So he starts to be friendly with her and walks her to class or hangs out with her after school, and she doesn't have any friends. So she starts to trust him, and he starts to give her I think he gave a pack of cigarettes one time, or a gift, a necklace or something, is kind of talking on her level, how she would talk to her friends. She starts to confide in him about, things about her mom. And he's like, well, what if I could give you a better life? I can give you a better life. And this motherfucker convinces her to run away and says, you can stay with me for a while. And he keeps her in his house where he lives with his parents in his room for 10 years. She's 13 or 14 when this starts. Very impressionable. doesn't know like that this is wrong, doesn't understand like the full scope of it. She thinks it's just going to be a couple days, and then a couple days turns into weeks, turns into years. And I mean, it shows her being like, okay, I think I'm ready to go back home now. I think I'm ready to go back to school. And well, no, because if you get out, then I'm going to get in trouble. Like, you don't want me to get in trouble, right? And then it became, well, your mom doesn't even fucking care about you anymore. No one's out there looking for you. No one even knows you fucking exist. And she just starts believing it.
Yeah, of course.
And oh my God,
he's literally the only person in her life.
Yeah, and he says that I'm the only one that cares about you. I'm the one who talks to you. I'm the one who gave you a better life. And yeah, she like tries to leave a couple times, and he abused her. I mean, he raped her. He had her thinking like, I'm the only one that cared about you. Towards the end of her captivity, though, as she was getting older, he would let her go on like day shopping trips. So she would go to like specific places while his parents were gone. And sure enough, she would go and she'd come right back. And she like, he
was testing her at first, I'm sure. Following her and making sure she was going to come back.
Adopted this like new identity. And it just became like little by little, she just kept being like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. Like I can't live like this forever.
For him, basically.
For him. And I think he reached the point of like it being too nice to almost like forceful. Like, you're here because of me. And that's where I think maybe that's what snapped her out of the brainwashing. So, well, that, again, the perfect storm to come out of it, she starts to meet people in the real world who are super nice, like a store manager, someone that works at the church, someone that works at a boutique, and they all take an interest in her, and they're all very nice to her. And
she can start imagining their perspectives on the world.
Exactly. Like, oh my God, you're so young. What do you want to be when you grow up? Are you going to go to school? What are you going to study? Like, what do you want to do with your life? And she's like, I don't know. I've never thought about that. And yeah, she eventually tells someone who she is, and they call the cops and they get him. And oh my God, like, even so, like after like year 8 or 9, he realizes that she can't like hold her in his room forever. So he introduces her as his girlfriend to his parents, and they're like, she's going to live with us now. And so she's there to take care of the parents, and she's never learned how to cook. She's never learned how to do laundry or do all these things. So his mom starts treating her badly. Oh, what are you doing bringing this girl? Good for nothing. She's just pretty, like, piece of shit bitch. Yeah. And then, oh my God, it's just crazy. So then that also like, I don't.
Messes her up, yeah.
10 years. 10 years.
Wow, now I want to watch this.
Yeah. He was sentenced to 15 years. He served it. Fuck you, dude. At the age of 14. So from 14 to 24. Could you imagine?
That's her most formative years.
Oh my God. Yeah, and she like wrote journals, and I'm trying to remember what else. It's just crazy. It's too much. Have you ever seen the documentary Abducted in Plain Sight?
Yes.
It was in 2020.
Oh, I'm glad you're going to talk about this. Yes.
Okay, so this is the abduction.
I want to rewatch it.
of Jan Broberg. It's like, I'm sorry. I know this is a real life, a real family.
People were really throwing the dad under the bus.
What the fuck?
Yeah, the dad really got some explaining to do.
Yeah. Okay, so this happened, back in like the 90s is when that happened. The early 90s. So it was this family of, I think it was 4. There might have been like 2 daughters or 3 kids. Parents, kids. Jan is the main person who we're going to talk about.
Jan is the main.
God, what's that dude's name? Oh my God, what's the dude's name? Robert Berchtold. Okay. Robert moves in next door to them, And, you know, he starts to like, hey, you know, become friendly with him. Hey, neighbor, you know, as you do. And he starts to come over and he starts to hang out with the family. He becomes almost like this uncle to the kids. And he starts to convince, you know, letting the neighbors to let the kids sleep over or him sleeping over with them. Turns into like him sleeping in the same bed as the girl. He kidnaps Jan, and as he's driving, he makes her put on these headphones that it's his voice pre-recorded, but it brainwashes her into believe that they're aliens and that she's here to be essentially like the next why am I losing thought? The next mother of Jesus, essentially. Like the Virgin Mary. Gosh, what am I trying to say? The next Virgin Mary, that her mission was to get pregnant by Robert, and she's special and she's chosen. And so he starts to rape her, and she's believing, I think she's also like 13, 11 years old, maybe even younger. She starts to believe that I'm special. This is my mission. This is what I have to do. And then he also starts to have sexual relations with the mom and the dad. Oh my God. I just remember the dad.
And all while he has their daughter captive.
Yes. Like they both somehow fall in love with him because I guess he was so charming. But the scene that you're talking about is the dad and him go on a drive, and the guy's like, this isn't funny. I know. I mean, it is, but like,
this is the dad telling the story, right?
Yes. He's like, he tells me, you know, I haven't had a relief in a long time. And you know what a good friend would do? They'd give me relief. So I just go over there and give him a hand job.
Like what?
What? And okay, I understand the dad's a victim as well. I'm not victim blaming. It's just,
it's the most strange version of this that we've ever seen.
Yeah, and like this man had
unprecedented,
the whole family wrapped around his finger.
Unprecedented.
Brainwashed completely. I mean, yeah, like at one point, I think they go to like Mexico. No, he takes her to Mexico to try to marry her. I think he does end up, no, I don't think he ends up fully marrying her, but they try to get married. Anyway, years and years later is when he finally goes to trial in court, and he ends up committing suicide before he's able to serve his sentence.
I remember that.
But I mean, yeah, it happened gradually again. I mean, both of these cases gradually. Yeah. Isolation, charming, the perfect storm. I mean, her parents were just, I don't know, maybe naive or just didn't think anything bad would happen. They trusted this man.
Now that we're going over this story again, it kind of reminds me of the second season of Something Was Wrong, which is the neighborhood of families that start hanging out with each other. And there's one woman that's like the head of the family that she's a total narcissist, and she's like pinning everybody against each other. And then one of the neighbors, the dad commits suicide.
Oh, the firefighter.
Yes.
Oh, that was so heartbreaking. Oh my God.
Over a long period of time, these families with kids and everything, they became really good friends. They'd have dinner at each other's houses. And then this one woman, she was so like narcissistic and controlling and wanted people to only be her friend, that she would pin people against each other. And then she started having an affair with someone else's husband. And then when that all came out, that husband ended up committing suicide.
Yeah. I mean, it's nuts the way these people wreak havoc on other people's lives.
Yep. I'll put trigger warning here so I don't forget.
So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of cases out there of, you know, because like this isn't like your typical, these two cases I just talked about, they're not your typical abduction cases where there's a white van that pulls up next to a kid and grabs them.
And then they're like handcuffed, tied to a bed.
Tied against their will. I mean it's a little bit different than that. I mean, this happened gradually.
It's psychological kidnapping.
Exactly. Yeah. Before it becomes physical.
Yep.
And it's just, it's nuts.
Yeah, it really is.
But yeah, that's
now I really want to go home and watch
And it happened to her twice. Like he abducted her twice.
That's insane.
And
oh my God, I didn't tell you. I got a new TV.
Huh?
I just pulled a U on the podcast. Oh my God, my fuzzy socks.
You got a new TV?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Actually, it was a coworker's TV. Okay, let me tell the whole story. Okay.
Okay.
It's
your
the whole
podcast.
story.
Do whatever you want.
So my coworker, she put in our work group chat on a weekend, like last weekend, basically. She was like, does anybody want a free 55-inch TV? Like they were upgrading their TV and they were getting rid of their old one. And I was like, that's pretty nice. And I think our living room TV is currently 50-inch. So I was like, okay, it might be an upgrade for our living room TV. Or if it's the same size, we'll just put it somewhere else in the house. Like it's a nice TV or whatever. So I was even actually thinking of it for the playroom for like what Travis plays video games on. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. You know, I waited a little while to see if anybody else was going to claim it since I already have a 50-inch TV, but nobody did. So I was like, I'll get it or whatever. She's like, okay, cool. So I see her the next day at work and then she's like, when do you want to come get the TV? And I'm like, can I come get it after work today? And she said, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go get Travis and then I'll come to your house and we'll get it. So we go to get it. Her name's Lisa. We get to her house. She's like, hi. And the TV's waiting by the door on the floor. Me and Travis pick it up. We're trying to load it into the back of the car. Cash is asleep during this whole thing. We're trying to load it into the back of the car. We get to the back of the car, like to the hatch, to like the trunk. And her boyfriend walks out. And like they're, just to set the scene, they're like in their 50s, I think. And we're like, oh, I don't know if it's going to fit in the back. And it was kind of wild to me because like a 50-inch, I have a large SUV. Like a 50-inch should fit in the back of our car. And as soon as she says, oh, I thought a 55-inch would have fit in the back of your car, her boyfriend walks out and goes, it's a 65-inch. And she was like, oh my God, I am so sorry. And I'm like, now that I think about it, it is huge. Like, it's huge. Like, huge.
I think that might be a 48.
Yeah, it's bigger than that. It's like much bigger than that. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So we try to fit it in the car. We can't get it to fit in the car. We even tried like the back floorboard, like on the ground in the back, and it doesn't fit. We need like another 1/2 inch to close the door. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to come back after work tomorrow without the boys so that I can take the car seat out and fold the seats down, and then I should be able to get it.
Can't you just like put half of the back seats down?
Yes, but the TV's too tall. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we thought of that too. TV's too tall. Yep. So the next day I went over there by myself after work and folded the seats down, and it fit like from the edge of the trunk all the way to the edge of the back of the seat that was laying down. I have a picture of it.
Holy moly.
So what's funny about that is, well, multiple things, obviously. A few weeks ago, I got a free TV stand on a Buy Nothing group on Facebook. It's a really nice TV stand. And when I got it, I didn't realize how long it was. Like, it's like a little bit longer than this desk right here.
Holy
It's
moly.
a really long TV stand. And we joked about how you could fit both our 50-inch and the TV that Travis played on it. Like, we were joking, like, oh, that's funny. We could put TVs side by side, whatever. So, whatever, you know. And then we get a 65-inch TV that we would not have been able to fit on our previous TV stand if we still had the previous TV stand.
Meant to be.
It was meant to be.
Wait, was that the new TV?
No, that was the old one.
Oh, okay.
Hold on one second. I wanted to show you what it looked like in the back of the trunk. Here it is.
God damn.
Literally. Edge of the seats.
Whoa.
Oh, here's a better picture of it from the other side.
That takes up your whole back seat.
Literally my entire back seat from the trunk to the... Now, I have a 2024 Ford Edge, like, is huge. And then this is Cash standing in front of it. It's like
do Cash.
It's like a living room. Like, it's like a movie theater in the living room. It's huge. And like, when we're sitting watching it, it's almost too big. We got a Fire Stick to put on it because it is a smart TV, but it has an old operating system on it because it's like 6 to 8 years old. So we got a Fire Stick to put on it because I can't download FanDuel on, which is how I watch the Pacers game. But the Fire Stick is not built for a resolution of a TV that big. everything we watch on it is grainy. Like it doesn't,
Oh.
it can't match the resolution for some reason. It's so odd. I don't know. But yeah, now we have a 65-inch TV in our living room and our 50 inches in our bedroom. And then the 32-inch that was in our bedroom is in the playroom. We just like played Ring Around the Rosie with TVs in our house. Kind of like you did when Mario moved in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Insane. It's an LG TV. I looked up what it would be worth now, like that model, what it would be worth now if I bought it new, $1,500. Like it's a nice TV. I'm surprised they give it away for free. They could have sold it. Yeah.
Good people.
Good people.
Good peeps.
Shout out to Lisa and Dan.
Shout out to Lisa. I feel like there's one more thing I wanted to add at the end of that.
About TVs or about brainwashing?
I think about brainwashing.
Okay, I have one more thing too, even though we're kind of going over a little bit.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. A fun fact. I have to find it really quick.
Fun fact.
I sent it to Katie. I can find it there. Oh, that was the wrong one. Katie, there we go. Shout out to Katie.
Excuse me.
Okay, here it goes. All right, this is a video. I'm just going to read the captions. This is how anxiety and depression were treated in the past. Women who experienced mood swings and melancholy were taken by their husbands to the doctor, who diagnosed them with a condition known as hysteria, which interestingly comes from the word hystera, meaning uterus, and is now recognized as anxiety. In the doctor's office, treatment was promptly initiated, which was nothing more than a pelvic massage aimed at achieving hysterical paroxysm, now normalized as orgasm. Time believed to reposition the uterus to its correct place, so many women repeatedly sought consultations and requested this treatment for hysteria. That doctors became exhausted by the end of the day. Because of this, they invented a vibratory device to perform the treatment more quickly, eliminating the need for manual intervention by the doctor. And that's how the vibrator was born. At the time, it was known as a healing artifact owned only by the nobility. Later, however, for some reason, it became extremely popular among women, for some reason, turning into a product labeled as sinful and losing the context of its original creation. That's the beginning of the video. So the history of how the vibrator was born is that women were crazy, and the only way to calm them down was to give them an orgasm. What do you know? What do you fucking know? I'm going to clip that for TikTok.
I was going to say, yeah, Bailey Sarian does an episode of the history of dildos.
Oh.
But she talks about vibrators in there too.
Yeah.
And it actually became, I think, like a federal crime to send vibrators through the mail or something like that once upon a time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the only way you get them now.
I know.
You don't want to walk into a store and buy one.
But also, bruh, your husband couldn't give you...
Nope. And they still don't. I mean, not mine, but somebody
I'm
still
well taken
ain't.
care of, but
Somebody still ain't giving their wives orgasms.
Oh my God. Hysteria. Hysterectomy. Uterus.
Hysterectomy.
Hysterectomy. I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, the notion that only women can be hysterical. Like hysterical is
Sexist.
by its origin term only feminine.
Sexist.
Yeah. Anyway.
There's something I wanted to say to that. Oh, damn, I keep forgetting my shit.
Did you remember while I was talking?
Nope.
Oh. Well, then you haven't kept forgetting it.
No, I forgot something else I was going to say.
Oh, that sucks.
About the dildos, about the vibrator. I don't remember.
All right. Well, sorry we skipped a week. We'll be back next week, hopefully, with some celebrity gossip that will be hot and piping. and ready for you.
Look, if you don't care, if you don't give two shits about Justin Bieber,
Oh yeah.
Haley Baldwin,
I don't
Selena
give two
Gomez.
shits about Justin Bieber and Haley Baldwin, but this
Yeah,
is insane.
it's too coincidental to not be.
There's proof. There are
intentional.
receipts. Okay.
Yeah, it's too much. Some might call it brainwashing.
Some might call it sociopathy.
Some might call it grooming.
Some might call it chameleon syndrome. So we'll get.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.